Another episode of Sloppy Saturdays. And today we're going to go over Texas State joining the Pac-12 Conference. We're going to go over the Pac-12 Conference as a whole, the teams that have joined it, the history of the Pac-12 Conference, and what we could expect in 2026 from this conference. Let's get right into it. Now, first off, for everybody who doesn't know, I'm going to go over how basically the Pac-12 got dismantled. It basically started off with the two California teams, USC and UCLA, leaving that conference to join the Big Ten as the Big Ten was on the rise. And after that, basically everybody copycatted them. When we look at Oregon, Washington, basically every team from the Pac-12 conference outside of Oregon State and Washington State pretty much left the conference. Now, this left the Pac-12 conference basically vacant, like I said, with Oregon State and Washington State. Now, Oregon State and Washington State really had a decision to make. They could have either joined a Group of Five conference, a conference like the Sun Belt Conference, the American Conference, Mountain West Conference, or they could have stayed in this conference and decided to rebuild it, stay strong, and that's exactly what they did. Oregon State, Washington State, they stayed in the Pac-12 conference. They were basically independent the last year, and they pretty much had a cake schedule. They really had no chance of making the college football playoffs because they were an independent team that just wasn't talented enough. Now, for Oregon State and Washington State, I think it's pretty valuable that they were able to stay in this Pac-12 conference because you're looking at a team that has been two teams that have been power conference teams for a long time. So I think that are going to be the staples of this conference. But not only that, I think it's very important to rebuild this conference as well. Again, this conference was dismantled arguably on one of their best years. When we look at Washington, they were in the national championship as a Pac-12 team the year it was being dismantled. And you look at Oregon, they were absolutely insane as well. Now, we're going to talk about Texas State joining this conference, what they have to bring to this conference, and we're going to talk about the rest of the teams in this conference, what to expect in 2026. So for Texas State, I absolutely love them joining this conference because they have really been the up-and-coming team in the Sun Belt Conference. They have been the top team in the Sun Belt Conference. When you look, they won 3 or 4 Big Bobas Cups, which means they were the top team in the Sun Belt. Not only that, in the last 2 years, they've had their first 2 bowl seasons. They've had a ton of really good transfers come out of Texas State, joining big-name schools. And not only that, the biggest thing I like about Texas State joining this conference is the opportunity of them in a power conference being in Texas. When you look at the college town they're in a booming college town. They're in between Austin and San Antonio. Their school has about 40,000 people, but we all know Texas high school football is the most dominant state for high school football. No other school compares. So now you're given the opportunity to build relationships being in a power conference with these high school recruits, and you might be looked at as really a true destination for some of these recruits. Maybe these recruits aren't getting the opportunity at Texas or Texas A&M, and they want to stay in state. Texas State could bring the Pac-12 that opportunity. So I really like it. I think, again, a school that's been at the top of their conference in the Sun Belt, but not only that, in the heart of high school and college football in Texas, I think it's a great opportunity for the Pac-12. Now, when we look at this Pac-12, we're going to name the teams that joined the Pac-12, what this conference is made up on. So you have Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Oregon State, San Diego State, Texas State, obviously, like we mentioned, Utah State, and Washington State. Now, there's a couple of teams that really stand out to me. First of all, Boise State going in that conference, I absolutely love it. They have been a great team in the Mountain West the last couple of years. But not only that, they are a team that made the college football playoffs last year. So them opting in this Pac-12 conference could really attract a couple of other nice members in this conference. Colorado State has been really producing as well. We saw them have a nice set of talent. I mean, with Fallon Nicolosi at quarterback, Torrey Holton in recent years. And you look what they did against Colorado. They were on a pretty big stage there. I think their coach definitely is a solid coach to bring as well into this conference. Fresno State, we know Fresno State has a ton of history. Obviously, everybody knows Derek Carr, Devontae Adams. They have had a ton of nice alumni. Again, haven't really been great in recent years, but again, a valid add to the school. San Diego State, another valid add to this school. I mean, primarily in basketball, they have been better, but again, not a bad school when you talk about attendance in that school. We talked about Texas State. Utah State, it's kind of whatever for me. Maybe they could have a chance to do something in this conference. But again, Washington State, Oregon State as being two teams that have been in power conferences and staying. I think that was really true to this conference and really had a chance for this conference to build. Boise State, you could argue the best team in this conference. Again, you're talking about a team that made the college football playoffs, so you have that to add to this conference. Fresno State, I really like that as well. And again, like we said, with Texas State, I think the opportunity in Texas is just ginormous. And I think being in the heart of high school football, they're going to be able to recruit some people. Now being in this Pac-12 conference, you're going to be able to recruit guys wouldn't be able to recruit in the Sun Belt Conference. Now we're going to talk about three teams that I really love to make this conference whole in 2026 when it starts. First team I really like is Liberty. We all know Liberty has been running their conference as well. But not only that, you look at what they've been able to develop. Caden Salter going to Colorado. He has been one of the best transfer portal ads at the quarterback position this year. When you look at Malik Willis as well, he goes to the NFL. So their last two quarterbacks have been really, really good. They have been a good program in their conference, top of the program. When you talk about Group 5 teams, I really like them. Tulane has been really good as well for a number of years. They have been able to compete in bowl games. We saw them beat USC in a bowl game with Michael Pratt, with Tajay Spears. Again, another solid Group of 5 team. And I really like Marshall as well. We all know Marshall's history. If they could add these three teams in the Pac-12, what I think the Pac-12 is going to be, it's really going to eliminate Group of 5 teams to make the college football playoffs. Instead of having, maybe Liberty get a bid or Boise State. Like, instead of that, this is going to be the team in the conference that gets the bid. So I think it's going to really eliminate Mountain West, eliminate Sun Belt, eliminate American Conference in getting a bid in the college football playoffs. And now you're going to put the best from all those Group of 5 teams in the Pac-12 to get a secure bid in the college football playoffs. I like it. It's really dumbing things down. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. It's going to be interesting to see in the next 5 to 10 years if this conference could really grow. I mean, they're never going to be, in my opinion, in the next 5 to 10 years, be able to compete, obviously, with the SEC or the Big Ten. But can they be on the same type of playing field as the Big 12 one day? It is a possibility. But that wraps up this episode for the Pac-12. We're going to continue to cover this conference and give expectations on what they could be in 2026. But again, I think this could be a conference in year 1, year 2, year 3 that gets a bid in the college football playoffs, because you're really taking all the Group of 5 top talented teams and putting them in this conference, making it easy for the committee, putting the top school in this conference in the college football playoffs. And I think it's going to really give these schools a lot of opportunity to get recruits that they might not normally get. And for a team like Washington State, like we said, be able to retain their top talent when you're talking about being able to get a college football playoff bid now. That wraps up this episode of Sloppy Saturdays, and we are out.